Hi and welcome to the third installment of this little video series about modes for guitar players. If you haven't seen the first two videos, I'd strongly encourage you to check those out first. I'll have links to those in the description box below. And once you've seen those, let's have some fun. Okay, to do a real quick recap, on the first video, we basically listened to what all of the modes sounded like using one scale shape. In the second video, we did the opposite of that. We basically used 7 different mode boxes or shapes to get all the same sound, and that was the Aeolian mode. But what we talked about was all of those boxes are all interconnected and locked together like one giant scale. So all we have to do to change modes is make sure that that particular mode sound that we want to listen to starts on the root note of whatever key we're in. So since we were in E Aeolian or E natural minor, we had our 6th mode, our Aeolian mode, start on the 12th fret, and that was our root note. If we wanted to play E Mixolydian instead, we would have taken all of those same shapes, moved everything 2 frets higher, so that way my Mixolydian mode box started on the 12th fret on E, and then we'd be playing in E Mixolydian. And that's really the whole concept. So what we're going to do today is we're going to expand on that idea a little bit and talk about how we can use all of these mode shapes to make sure that we can play all over the neck of the guitar in a really interesting way. So what happens to 99.9% of all guitar players after they've learned their minor pentatonic box is eventually they feel stuck and they feel trapped in one section of the neck. If we look at how many frets we have and how many strings we have, it can get discouraging pretty quickly when we realize we're only playing here and we have all of this. So here are a couple of really quick, easy ways that you can kind of expand your playing. We're going to keep everything in the key of E natural minor or E Aeolian. So everything that we learned in the last video, everything's going to stay put. And we're going to learn how to play through a couple of these shapes. And I also have a backing track in the description box below that I'm going to have you kind of have fun playing along with, and it's a good idea to maybe take 1 or 2 mode boxes at a time, see how much you can squeeze out of those, and then move on into the rest of the shapes. Okay, so here's one concept or one cool guitar lick that I show a lot of my guitar students when we talk about this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my G and B strings, and I'm going to move up through all of the mode box positions to make a cool guitar lick. So instead of playing across them, I'm going to play up them in a slightly more fluid and musical way. So this is what it's going to sound like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide from the 4th fret to the 5th fret of my G string, and this is coming from our Ionian mode box shape, and I'm going to grab the 8th fret with my pinky on the B string. Now this spacing right here is going to stay the same the whole time. So the first one we slide from 4 to 5, grab 8 with our pinky. The next one we're going to slide from 5 to 7, we're going to grab 10 with our pinky. The next one we're going to slide from 7 to 9, grab 12 with our pinky. Last one we're going to slide from 9 to 12, and we'll grab 15 with our pinky. Now if we wanted to kind of make that resolve on an E note, which is our root note, we could just take that 15th fret and bend it up a whole step. Now another thing that we could do too that kind of will grab everybody's ear and make you sound like the great guitar player that you really are, kind of space those apart, make a wider intervallic jump. What I mean by that is instead of climbing up these in order, do something like this. Let's skip a couple. I'm going to skip the one that's on the 7 and go right to 9. Then down to 7, then up to 12. So that could be kind of another cool way to again, get that sounding sort of interesting and less scale-like. We could take that same concept and apply it to any pair of strings. We could do it on our highest 2 strings. So all I did there is I slid from 3 to 5 on my B string, and I grabbed 7 with my ring finger. And then moved that same shape up to 8 and 10, to 10 and 12, to 12 and 14. Then all I did was I bent that 14th fret until it sounded like the 15th fret, which is the minor 3rd degree of the scale. Let it down, and it's resolved on my root note. Or I could bend on 15 to do that too. For those of you that want to go fast, there's lots of stuff that we can do with these boxes. An easy one is sort of this 3-note per string kind of shred technique that we're going to use groups of 6 notes. So if we started on our Locrian shape, that was the very first one that we did, that started on the 2nd fret. I'm going to have that up on the screen. If I went up the first 6 notes, and then when I was done with that string, that A string, I just repeated that string again before I went on. So it would look something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Start on my same string again. Then I'm going to go to my next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Same thing. And then you get this cool thing that looks like this. And with a little practice, it's kind of cool once you get it up to speed. Now what you could do is you could do that for all of these, but again, we're just gonna sound like we're stuck in a box. But if you do that on your way to maybe one of those other licks, it can be really effective and powerful technique and tool. So check this out. What if I kind of went up until I got to the G string and then stopped? And then from there, I went into a different repetitive pattern. Now what I actually just did was so stupid that it's gonna make you laugh when I break this down. Okay, here's all I did. I started on my Ionian mode boxer shape and on the inside 2 strings, my D and G string. I did a hammer on and pull off from 4 to 5, and then I just grabbed 7 of the D string. And I just did that until I got bored. And then I decided I'm going to swap out the 7th fret of my D string for the 7th fret of my G string. Then I just did it an octave higher. And all I did to connect those was I grabbed a couple of notes from those mode boxes, climbing up the neck. So here's what I did. Now I slid into my Phrygian box shape. So now I'm on the 9th fret of my G string. Now if I look at what the 3 highest strings of my Phrygian box shape look like, it goes 7 to 9, 7, 8, 10, 7, 8, 10. Pretty easy to fall under my fingers. So I'm gonna make a repetitive pattern to get up there. So I'll go. And now I'm in that same repetitive pattern that I was just playing down here. Now I'm going to come up to my sort of E Aeolian position. I'm kind of thinking a little bit like the minor pentatonic scale. I'm going to do this little maneuver. And all I'm going to do here is I'm going to go from 12 to 14, 15, and then some hammer-ons and pull-offs just to spice it up a little bit. And a big bend on the 15th fret. So breaking this down nice and slow. So these are just a couple of a seemingly endless amount of phrases and licks and passages that we can use using these shapes. But that's the general idea and concept. Instead of really playing across each box then moving up, we want to take a couple of notes from each one to move through the patterns to make everything sound a little bit more musical and less static, like we're playing just some guitar box shape. Another one is to try and play melodies just on one string, moving through all of these mode boxes. So this way we almost sound like we're someone that's singing instead of playing guitar, doing something kind of like this. So what I'd like you to do is click on the backing track that's in the description box below and have fun playing through these shapes, trying out some of those guitar licks, and just seeing what you come up with. Just being in a different position or box than you're used to playing with, and the way those notes are gonna just happen to line up as far as what's easy under your fingers, is gonna completely change the way that you play anyway. And if you can be conscious of where your half steps and whole steps are, try bending, up to that half step or that whole step, or trying some slides and working through all of these patterns. And once you feel comfortable doing everything in the key of E Aeolian, go ahead and try switching things around. Do something easy, like we were talking about Mixolydian, moving everything up 2 frets, put on an E Mixolydian backing track, and try some of these same licks out, everything now 2 frets higher, and all of a sudden it's gonna sound like a major scale with a flatted 7th degree. So, have fun, do a lot of practicing. If you have questions, stick them in the comments section down below, and hopefully this is gonna help you open up your guitar playing, open up the fingerboard, and give you an infinite number of options of places that you can play and do some awesome creating. Okay, take care.